welcome back to Homegrown Handmade. Today we're going to do cranberries 3 different ways. So if you recall in my last video we made some orange cranberry garlands, and I think I said I purchased 6 bags of cranberries. I only ended up using 2 bags of cranberries, so I was left with an abundance of cranberries after and nothing to do with them. So I did a little bit of research on Pinterest and found a couple of recipes and then made up one of my own. The first is a cranberry honey mustard from Homespun Seasonal Living. The second is a recipe for honey fermented cranberries that I found from Grow, Forage, Cook, Ferment. And the third is a cranberry jalapeno jam that I made the recipe for myself. I'll put the links for all of the recipes below so you can try them out if you'd like to. For the cranberry honey mustard, you'll need apple cider vinegar, apple juice, honey, whole mustard seeds, ground mustard, ground coriander, ground allspice, and a 12-ounce bag of cranberries. First, we're going to add a half a cup of apple cider vinegar to a small pot and allow it to boil. Once your apple cider vinegar comes to a rolling boil like this, we're going to turn off the heat and add 2 tablespoons of whole mustard seeds. And then I'm just going to take that, put it on a cool burner, and let it sit for about 2 hours. My mustard seeds and vinegar have cooled. It's been about 2 hours that they've been soaking. Now I'm going to pour this into a blender cup. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of whole cranberries, half a cup of apple juice. Next, I'm just going to blend this until smooth. Now I'm just adding the cranberries, apple juice, and mustard seeds back into my pan, where I'm going to cook over medium heat until it boils. It's just starting to bubble ever so slightly. You can see kind of some air coming out here. It's not going to boil like a thinner liquid would, but once it's doing this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of dried coriander, 3 teaspoons of dried mustard powder, I'm making sure to mix it so that it doesn't burn on the bottom. I don't want any of this to scald. And now, 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice. Now that all the spices are incorporated, I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of honey. And then let simmer until it reaches your desired consistency. For the honey fermented cranberries, you'll need raw honey, 1 knob of ginger, cinnamon sticks, the juice of 1 orange, and a 12-ounce bag of cranberries. I already have 3 cups of cranberries pre-measured. It ends up being about 1 12-ounce bag of cranberries. And I'm just going to fill my quart-sized jar with those cranberries. Once you have your cranberries in your jar, you want to mash them up slightly. I don't have a macerator, so I'm just going to use the handle of a wooden spoon. Now that your cranberries are mashed slightly, you're just going to add 1 or 2 cinnamon sticks. I'm putting 2 in just because I like cinnamon. And then I have a knob of sliced ginger here. I left the husk on. That's what they did in the recipe, so I'm just leaving it on here. I'm going to add that to my jar as well. And then next, I'm going to add the juice of 1 orange. Once you have your ginger and cinnamon added, you're just going to add raw honey to cover up all the cranberries. And because my honey was a little bit cold and therefore somewhat grainy, it's gonna take a little bit of time to seep down into all the cranberries, but I'm just gonna let it sit here, let that seep down, and then if there's any headspace above the cranberries that aren't coated with honey, I'm gonna add a little bit more. To make the cranberry jalapeno jam, you'll need a bag of cranberries, apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of water, a cup of sugar, 2 to 3 whole jalapenos, some ground cloves, and ground cinnamon. First, I'll add 1 rinsed 12-ounce bag of cranberries to my pot, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of cloves, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, followed by 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Mix together all the ingredients and bring to a boil. Watch your pot closely so it doesn't boil over, but once it starts to look like this, reduce to medium heat and let simmer for about 10 minutes. My cranberries have been reducing for about 10 minutes now, and as you can see, they're a pretty nice texture. I'm just going through and looking for any whole cranberries that haven't popped yet and popping them up against the side of my pan. I don't personally like large chunks in my jam, and this will just help to reduce that a little bit. Once you're happy with the consistency of your jam, you can add in your jalapeno. We chose to do 3 whole jalapenos because we like a little extra kick, but feel free to taper down if you don't like as much spice. Go ahead and mix them through, and then take your jam off the heat to cool. Once the cranberry jam or mustard have cooled, you can place them in jars to store in the refrigerator. The fermented cranberries will need to be stored in a cool, dark place with the lid loose. Once a week, screw the lid tight, give a good shake, then loosen it up and store again. They'll be ready about a month after you're first making them. Thank you for watching and take care.